Welcome back to Underrated Movies. I'm your guy, I'm your man, Mr. Alton Henry. Today I'm going to talk to you. Actually, you know what? This is something I might do, and I might do more research on this because I believe I wouldn't say personal, but I believe it's something to where I also like video games, but I don't have time to play a lot. In fact, I'm not big on it as I used to, just because, well, for time's sakes. It's a money investment into, I got other things I need to do and figure out. But there's what I do wish though, and I regret this, um, getting into the streaming gaming market. And I wish I caught on to that earlier in my life. Because there's some pretty cool games out there, uh, that have some pretty cool, interesting premises that could be pretty good. I said pretty good 3 times. Could be very good television shows. And you know what? I mean, I think there are a few of them that have been trying to get developed into television shows or movies. It's just could be lack of funding, could be lack of appeal, it could be a number of factors. Like I do know that the video game, and I think it's underrated, but I do remember it was hard to control a bit. Kane and Lynch, Dead Man. For those who don't know, it's a crime action thriller of a crime inmate who gets broken out of prison and is forced to tag along with this somewhat insane medicated inmate who joined together forcefully by some criminals that this guy owes money to I think go back to steal some money or steal something for them. So because they have his family, his ex-wife and daughter held hostage, and it's a very gritty game. I do remember quite a few things about the game though. Like I do remember how hard it was. The difficulty level was very, very challenging. I didn't really like the game controls, to be honest with you. When I remember I was playing that, the game controls felt so foreign. It didn't. I had a tough time playing the game, but it was fun. The voice acting was great. It did have the same animation. I think it was from the same company that did the Hitman games. In fact, that's a game franchise I wish I got into more because I loved Absolution and I played Blood Money. Uh, and that's one thing I wish I should have had the PS5 for to play the newer Hitman games because they look pretty cool. But I can tell you, I remember what I do remember most about the game, and I know they did a sequel to the game, and I heard the game that sequel is not as good as the original. That when you get shot and close to dying, play this they play a few monologues of Kane of what he's mentally going through, his regret. You hear his fears, his regret, his cry, his plea. And at that moment, depending where Lynch is at, he's either near you, and if he's near you, he's able to give you an adrenaline shot, and you can keep on going only for a few more times. If he's far away, whatever, he can't reach you, you're gone. Or if you run out of adrenaline, you're pretty much done for. Uh, and I love the music that played in that. I also said Max Payne is underrated. I don't think so. The game spanned 3 video games. Uh, I haven't played the first two, but I did love the third game, and I love the third game. That game was freaking amazing. If only they make an action movie just as crazy as like that, I could see they played a big homage to Tony Scott's Domino and Man on Fire. The way they edited the game was so cool. But I could see that they've been trying to get that game into a live action film for quite some time. I don't think it's in development anymore. I remember they were gonna have Bruce Willis or Donnie Wahlberg with Jamie Foxx, which I don't know about the casting. I mean, Bruce Willis maybe, Donnie Wahlberg, yeah, I could see both play as Kane. I don't know about Lynch. And you know what? I can't think of an actor who could play Lynch right now. There's a few of them. I was thinking Billy Bob Thornton, but he's too old. Uh, maybe no, not Orlando Bloom. I don't know. I don't know. I would have to really do research to kind of figure out who would be a good candidate for Lynch. Because I'm trying to think of a actor who could. No, not DiCaprio. Yeah, I would have to look into a catalog of actors who could probably play Lynch. But that game was so gritty and so fun, and it was actually pretty short if you played it, just straight on through with the game because I think it's only 3 hours. It had a very engaging story, engaging action sequences. I remember the act; it was pretty cool. One of my favorite levels in the game was the bank robbery scene uh, level early into the game. Uh, that could be a that could be a mini series, a little limited show for like Netflix or HBO Max, whoever gets it. Because I could see them expanding on quite a few character developments within the story, and I could see maybe like a 7 episode series, or perhaps maybe close to 10. Maybe 10 is a little bit too long. Or maybe they could do a season two with the second game. I have not played the second game, so I don't know how that went out. But I heard it's not as good. I don't know. But another game I really believe that will be a great television show, and it's a short video game, first person, is Turning Point Fall of Liberty. It's a World War II action game it's an alternate history video game. And it centers around if the Nazi party somehow invaded the United States and just start having war within the states. And the game takes place in New York, and it goes all the way around to Washington D.C. to the White House. And then I don't think you hit Germany. I don't remember. I think you do in one of the levels, if I remember. The game is not long, neither. I think it's like a 3 to 4 hour game. But what really intrigued me about the game was the concept, the premise. I mean, it's a straight action series that you can pretty much have a good time with. Though it does end very abruptly. I got to be honest, I thought the ending was kind of weak, and I'm big on abrupt endings, but it builds up to a moment, and when they finish that moment, you kind of don't know what's happening to the rest of the world or to the rest of what the concept that is built on with this game. Once this pivotal moment, even as the character completely ends, the game ends completely, and it uh, that was disappointing when I first played the game. The game was fun, but that was disappointing. But I think the premise, the concept is so good. I think you could literally expand on more character development, more of what's happening with the world around the United States about this idea of Nazi Germany uh, invading the U.S. Think it's a good game. I mean, you can watch the gameplay for free online. Another good game I think would be a great television show or two. Well, not kids games, but they're close to borderline teen games if they didn't put in like real blood in there. I Ninja, and I love this game growing up playing it. Like I remember I played the demo and then I had the game for Christmas. For those who don't know what I Ninja is a story of a ninja in training who accidentally murders his own master after uh, getting possessed by this weird jewel. So he goes on a revenge path to avenge his master, who actually accompanies him as a ghost, and to destroy these evil gems that are pretty much taunting the world and then anybody that touches it. It's a fun game. It's very violent for a teen kids. Well, I wouldn't say kids, but for a teen game, like the gameplay and the graphics are very somewhat. I wouldn't necessarily say kid friendly, but there's like Ratchet and Clank, and they make the characters look kind of adorable. But however, the game doesn't shy away when it comes to chopping people in half and slicing them up, or slicing these weird demons, these undead or evil spirit ninjas in the game, and they just shout out green blood. It's pretty violent, but to keep that, I mean, at least they don't show like graphic, gory, intestine violence and stuff. But I'm telling you right now that that's a game I could see expand into like a little 3-season Netflix series. I could see them going hardcore with it, and I could see it as 2D animation. But to be honest with you, I would love it if they were to do if they were to adapt that into a show to keep the 3D animation intact. I think there was something uh interesting, and uh if they were to proceed with that. If they were to go back, hey, let's make a show about this. And then Destroy All Humans. I think Destroy All Humans has a huge cult following, which they remastered the game 2 years ago or three. And I could see them do a very limited. Actually, no, no, no. I could see this expand for actually quite a bit for a dark comedy science fiction uh, animated show. I think I could see them go very hardcore with this. In fact, they don't even need to keep it PG-13. They could go R with this show. Have it like Adult Swim vibes, maybe like Rick and Morty. Just go off the wall insane with it. I could see them literally go very far, pushing the envelopes with Destroy All Human. Though I don't think they're gonna do that, but it would be interesting to see what they would be able to pull off if the creators were to pitch out an idea to try to get this uh a Destroy All Humans television show out there. I mean, I can see Sly Cooper being out there, but they've been trying to get that into a movie for years, and they released a concept trailer, which I don't know. I don't know how I felt about the designs of it. It just felt very different. And it's crazy about it. I'm surprised Sony hasn't even thought about adapting Spyro, Sly, and Crash Bandicoot. But then I think Crash Bandicoot might be a little bit tough to do, given that that main character does not speak. Yeah, I think Crash Bandicoot would be a little bit tough to do. But hey, it's crazy because Sony they have these unique IPs for their video games, but they never really figured out how to capitalize them into bigger forms of media like movies. I think they did the Ratchet and Clank movie, which I heard that wasn't very good. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I do remember they made a show based off the I think it was like Jack and the Power of Juju television show. I do remember that came on Nickelodeon. And that came I think that was only 2 seasons, and it didn't last too long. Uh yeah. And I do think yeah, there's another I do think Wolfenstein would be a great show, but then I don't know. Like my favorite Wolfenstein game is the 2009 version. I played a little bit of the newer versions, the first game of the newer versions, but it already feels so cinematic. I don't know if it would be a great idea to make into a show or movie. I mean, they could. I do see them possibly doing it, but I don't trust. I don't think I can. For me, you would need to put it into fans who are dedicated to the franchise, who knows where they want to take the story. Because lately, with that the Witcher, I haven't played the games with them, but I did hear that Henry Cavill was a big fan of the games, and to hear that as a fan, to combat with the writers who have knew nothing about the franchise, and then you're dealing with an actor who has a profound love for it, and it's telling the writers or the producers like, no, this is not how the game goes. It's like, oh, we're going by the book. Well, the game, the book, the game. I don't know what the game does with the book. I don't know. I didn't even know if it was based off a book. But point is, you had a person who worked on set, an actor who knew the property better than the writers and producers that were developing the show, and he was schooling them out. And he chose not to, and he didn't want to return for the I think season three because he didn't want to work with people who knew nothing about the adaptations of the um, property, and that's respectful. And I wouldn't. I mean, I would definitely be on Henry Cavill's side. I mean, if they were to do a Bioshock game, I mean, they've been trying to do a live action movie or some sort of that for quite some time, and that is so risky to pull off because I don't think anybody that they're going to hire is going to have any knowledge or love for that franchise. So I think that's very risky to try to pull that off, especially. I think that's just going to be risky, too risky. I think with these older games that have less fan base, like some of the games I mentioned, do have interesting premises. I mean, Wolfenstein has a fan base. I think you can get away with because they're not as popular, but they were fun games at the time, and they don't have this big lore around them. They can just kind of just get in and get out and get away with. Now, if you do a popular stuff, you have to respect the lore of the games. I don't think there's any other way around it. I'm trying to think of another, and there's some other games I've seen or from YouTube or that I watched that could be adapted into a feature. Uh, like I do know what's that game? What's that game called? No, not Soul Calibur. I can't think of Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur. No, not even Virtual Fighter. I do know there was a little anime television series that was made in the '90s, and truthfully, it just wasn't. It wasn't as impactful as I wanted it to be. I think the nah, not Manhunt. I heard about the game and I looked into it. Manhunt, I think, be too controversial. Uh, but I do know maybe the Suffering, Doom. No, I don't think Doom could. Maybe as a full fledged Unreal Engine show as a live action. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there's just too much at stake for that. I personally think games with a I think games that has a lesser known fan base or just aren't as popular but has a unique story probably could work, like Turning Point Fall Liberty, like I Ninja Destroy Humans, even Splinter Cell, which Splinter Cell is a known franchise. I could see that working, but again, you got to hire the right people for it. I do think there is a market for these new video game adaptations. I do think they should try to find games that weren't as popular to get out there. I mean, I don't even know would it be a good idea to try Max Payne again. That Mark Wahlberg movie was fine, but I haven't played the first game, so it was fine for what it was. But after playing the third game, yeah, I could see doing a do over would be great. In fact, I would prefer that than having them announce that they're going to remake the Man on Fire film that was Denzel Washington, and then there was a movie before that based off the novel. That's being remade, for those who don't know, into a television show. Uh, I'm not gonna say who's in it. I could see that actor pulling that off. But if you want more ideas, especially IPs, there's so many video game ideas out there that have been made for the last 20 to 30 years. Some of them have some pretty cool, interesting premises. Now, if it's too thought provoking, I don't know. Okay, I have, I don't know. Like that there, especially if it's sci-fi, you really have to put in the time to try to make that work. Um, Instead of just forcing it out. And there's some indie games out there that would be some pretty cool, interesting premises. Even the Journey. I think Journey, the indie game Journey, I think that would be a good little mini movie. Um, but the thing is, there's not much details of what goes on into the story. It's a very meditative game. I watched the gameplay. I didn't play the game. But there's another game that's like that. It's not called Flower, but it's something else. Um, it's called Abuzi. A ABZU. Just something like that has pure imagination. I think you can get away with. Like you just have to, I guess, not be afraid to go bold with it and just I don't know, just go for it. I think there's some pretty interesting game stories out there that, especially if Hollywood, if audiences are craving something meaningful and resonating, instead of remaking the same crap over and over again. There are other options out there. I just talked about Star Wars. There are video games that have some pretty cool, interesting premises that may not be as popular, and it's fine. You just have to get it out. Uh, it's cool too, because if you do, even though they're based on video games, there's going to be audiences that don't even know that they were originally video games, and in fact, they might get people to go back and research. It's like, oh, this was based on a video game. Like I heavily believe Turning Point, Fall of Liberty would be a great game to turn into a movie or a show because it's a simple story. And then because it's so simple and there's not much development going on, the writers could take the time to develop so much out of that. Also, no, you know what? No, it'd be another good television show adapted. And this is one of my favorite video games. Actually, two of them. One of my favorite video games, LA Noir, which that game is designed to be a movie, like an epic long epic. And then you have the Saboteur, World War II. And visually, you could go so unique with it. You could kind of do it like the game. And in fact, I would try to do it like the game. We started as black and white noir style, and then when certain aspects of the resistance are prevailing into the story, I feel like that they're winning. The environment, the screen could turn color as the story goes along. That would be an amazing show. That would be a crazy amazing show. I miss playing that game. That would be a great game, a great show, movie. Be better off as a show because there's so much story that I don't know if I don't think it could work as a movie. If it does, maybe I don't know, maybe like a 2.5 hour film, and it just be your straight revenge plot point story of World War II set in racing, and just have all the war elements kind of put on the side. But I think it would be better off as a show because I know shows expanding on story is the thing now. It has been a thing for at least a decade. It's something to really think about. any Hollywood executive, whoever, or fans watch this video. And you know what? That's actually pretty interesting. Put down in the comment section below and let me know what's a game that you play that may not had that wasn't as popular. It could be from any console that you believe would be a great television show or, in fact, live action movie. And let me know what is your favorite underrated movie.